Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Stephen Masley.
What's up, guys?
And we're coming back with another dub to you, 11-1. We're happy people over here. I know I'm happy. I don't know about Maz. Maz gets a little in his bag, but he still finds problems.
How could I be upset? We dominated every aspect of that game other than our running, but we didn't need to run because we were dominating so much on them. Just containing Derrick Henry. I love how we finally stacked the box. Like, thank you, like Sirianni for doing that, or Gannon, whoever job.
I think that was a Gannon call.
I hope it was a Gannon call, but it looked fantastic. We saw Nakobe Dean out there for a little bit. That made me happy. And then, not to mention, we threw the ball for 380 yards with Hurts. Thank you. That was amazing. AJ Brown got his revenge game. I don't think it's anything could be happier. We made our special teams adjustments. There's one problem only, which was the false starts that for some reason everyone in the O-line got. But that was just weird calling in the entire game. Even Jalen Hurts got that one when he was trying to get him to jump off sides because he moved his head a half an inch.
Yeah. That was definitely strange. I was not, I didn't really understand what was going on with all the penalties. That's definitely going to be cleaned up. But I don't think, we've seen a more complete performance all year. Even the Vikings game, this was a much more complete performance. We dominated in all aspects. This team, we've talked about it. They were one-dimensional. And if you stop that one dimension, they're toast, Yeah. We stopped Derrick Henry. We stacked the box. And we had the coverage guys to cover their guys behind them. So, this game, the thing that excited me the most about this game is that I think this was a message to the league, not because we beat the Titans, but because of the last 2 weeks, we came out and our quarterback ran for 150 yards, our running back ran for 150 yards. And then the next week we come out and our quarterback throws for 370 or 380 yards and, just dominates through the air. And now we've proven in 2 weeks that we can beat you with every facet of the game. We can beat you with defense. We can beat you with offense. We can beat you through the air. We can beat you on the ground. This team is formidable. And this is what I was trying to tell everybody to relax about when we were looking bad. We're allowed to look bad sometimes, but the talent is all there to be the best team in the league.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. But we made the adjustments, and I needed to see that be made. And we only made good adjustments from each time we had a fall, which is my favorite part about this team right now, is the coaching adjustments. And I really know that we had the best roster, and I really loved to see all the adjustments being made. And like every hole that we had was filled. Like you can look at any special teams. Covey finally got a few, not like anything crazy, but he got a couple returns. We were tackling a lot better. I don't know if they did like drills or anything, but they were going at Derrick Henry low, which you talked about.
Absolutely.
It couldn't be any more like of a perfect storm of a game, especially AJ Brown going off against his old team, and he was happy for that. It looked like we were having fun out there, and can't ask for anything less than that than that type of win.
Absolutely. We doubled their yards. They had, as a team, they totaled 290, 453. That's a complete and utter domination of a game. And, another game with no turnover, which is great. We led the possession battle, obviously. And another thing, like we talked about, is the special teams. We finally saw a difference on special teams. I don't know what adjustment was made, but something was clearly made because I've always had a problem this whole year that everybody has a problem with Britton Covey, because I think that it's misdirected. I do not think that all this stuff going on this year in the special teams is Covey's fault. Like, it looks like he's always having bad returns because he's getting clobbered the second he touches the ball. There's never been any blocking. What the heck are you supposed to do? Yeah. Now that he has some blocking, you see him making some moves and getting up the field. It makes a little more sense now. So, like, I want to give Covey his props because he had a really good game and set us up with a lot of good field position. And a lot of time this year, he's been getting a lot of hate, and I never really thought it was warranted. So, shout out to Britton Covey.
Good for him. I'm happy he did something. He was good at Utah. I really did like him at Utah. I feel like at first, especially being a rookie, his like athleticism wasn't what college athleticism is. And it was more like he had to adjust to the NFL. He's not going to be able to beat a guy one move. And
well, that should be expected from every rookie. For some reason, all of a sudden, everybody in the NFL expects people to be Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and like these guys that are all stars, like right off the rip. That does not happen very often.
It doesn't. But the entire team altogether, just how could you not put Jalen Hurts at the top of the MVP race after the game like that, after the back-to-back games that he had? It just shows how much he's matured and grown just in general. Like he's really this year been a different quarterback than last year. And I say that in the best way possible. Like, who else have you seen make a jump from like a decent quarterback to like he's like a top 3 quarterback, and there's like you can't really say anything.
The only time I've ever seen this happen before, to be completely honest, in the history of the league, was when Pat Mahomes randomly came in, not expected to do much, and then just poof was the best quarterback in the league, and that was warranted. But this doesn't happen. Like this is like.
But even Patty sat behind Alex Smith for a year. Like Jalen Hurts thrown into the fire right with Wentz, and like wasn't expected to like. I guess they had expectations for him, but it was more just an insurance policy for Wentz, and it just that's awesome. And especially with a young coach like this, like Andy Reid, like Patty Mahomes obviously matured and learned a lot, but like having Andy Reid as a coach compared to Sirianni, just like. I'm not saying right now that Sirianni's not a great coach, but just being a new head coach is way harder than a guy like Andy Reid who's been established in the league for the last 20 years as a top echelon coach.
Absolutely. And on top of that, Sirianni is he's not like I wouldn't call him a developmental guy. He's just a player's coach. Like he's just a facilitator. He's not even the play caller. He never has been. He's just smart and just knows how to facilitate. He's just a facilitator. He lets the other guys do their jobs. He lets Gannon and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the offensive coordinator's name right now. What is it, Steichen? He lets them make their own decisions. And sometimes that is where we have problems, of course. There's give and take to that. But there are some times where I wish Sirianni would step in and say, like, because I'll watch him get mad on the sidelines at the play calls, and I'll be like, all right, Sirianni, you step in and make the adjustment.
Yeah.
But a lot of this whole team is super young, and the fact that we're excelling to this extent is super exciting because outside of all the contract issues, this is something that we could potentially keep together for a while. So I'm definitely worried about the contracts because me and my dad were watching the game together. We were even talking about it. We've got a lot of guys on 1-year contracts as well as a quarterback that has to be paid next year.
Yep.
So we're going to have a lot of decisions to make come the offseason, but I know Howie doesn't make moves without considering, what can be done to keep the team together. So I guess we'll see on that.
No, and like even the contract points, just seeing, I'm just going to, because I loved it seeing it. The first 2 plays, Nakobe Dean comes in, he makes 2 tackles. He flies around. I can't wait for him to be good.
He looks really good because, like you said, the first 3 plays, they were all in different spots of the field. And just like he did at Georgia, and what I loved from him at Georgia, the man just flies around and is involved in every single play. He just has pure football instincts. He might not have the football IQ that I might think he does. And I think it might get overshadowed by his instincts, and that might be why he's not playing quite yet. But when he puts it all together, and he's gonna get his chance. I personally think he's gonna be starting next year. I don't think we're gonna be keeping Kaiser White. I think it's gonna be TJ Edwards and Dean in the middle next year. But it's the same situation we were just talking about with the other rookies. Nobody's supposed to be good immediately. Not nobody, but it's a stupid expectation, even for a number 1 pick. Sometimes, sometimes I get it. You expect them to be good right away, yeah, but it's very rare you see a turnaround of a team go from, the worst team in the league to the best team in the league. Bengals did it, I suppose, but
they did do it. They just smacked all their picks though. Like even Bates, like they
you
just
have to get everything right. Yeah, you have to get everything right.
Yeah. But even he looked like a team like a Jaguars, they're improving. They're like you could see see strides from Trevor. You can see ETN
same with the Lions.
Yeah.
I'm trying the Jets. All these teams that have been perennial bad teams are starting to get their come ups now, and that's the way the league has always worked. That's the way the league does work. You always make yourself better through the draft, not through free agency or trades. You know, you draft guys. It's the reason the Steelers were so good for so many years. Before this year, they hadn't had a losing record since before I was born because they just hit in their drafts always. The draft's important. And it's where we're seeing a difference with the Eagles right now because Howie, made an adjustment and finally got away from the analytics crap that he used to do and, try to find the steal. He got away from that and now started, just looking for talent and looking at just straight talent from the best schools, started listening to fans, hearing who fans wanted, and he started you can see the difference immediately.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just even taking guys from the SEC in general is just because they're playing at such elite, other caliber players. It just helps the adjustment so much.
It's almost like it's like, looking at the draft is like trying to hit a bet. If you're taking a guy, you might want to get that moneymaker and take a steal, somebody that you don't expect to be good and it might work out. Yeah. But those are much less likely to hit. You want to take a guy that's safe and the most ready to play. And that's the SEC because they've played against the best talent and they just are the most pro ready and it just makes them the safest bets.
Hey,
it's not like they're always going to hit, but most of the time they do.
No, they've been. It's worked out for us, and I can't be happier with this team right now. Just are we too high? Am I allowed to get any high? I don't know. Is there any reason that you're not thinking we're the best team in NFL without a question?
No, there wasn't a point that I thought otherwise. Past week 4, I felt that way this whole season, even in our down times. I tried to keep you out of that little hole of getting down on us. They were a very, very good team, and things can obviously go wrong. There's no telling what's going to happen to continue on the season, whether people might get hurt, whether we just have one of those bad games, in an important one. You never know. But in terms of where we're at, where we're set up, I do not see any reason that we shouldn't be in the Super Bowl come February.
And another question, just before we talk about the Giants game, because that's a big game. I saw a stupid stat that Mike sent me shout out Mike Honorelli on ESPN. It was best chance to win a Super Bowl in his NFC teams. I don't know how this stat makes any sense because it just happened today. They have the Dallas Cowboys at 50% chance to make the Super Bowl, Eagles at 30%, and then the Vikings at 9%. I just don't know how you put the Cowboys. I just don't.
It just sounds like a Cowboys fan made it. That's everybody's just too high on the Cowboys right now.
I just don't it's on ESPN. It's just because and then all the comments are, well, we didn't have Dak when they played the Eagles. Dude, shut up. I understand the Cowboys are a good team and it might even be better than the Vikings, but there's no reason that
better than the Vikings. They are better than the Vikings. I feel like I can say that definitively, but it's just egregious to say in any way that they're better than the Eagles because I've told you this before. If you look at every position on the field and compare it to the Cowboys, I do not see a single position that they're better than us at. Maybe D-line, and our D-line is our strongest suit. They just happen to have 2 top tier pass rushers, so you can maybe give that to them. Maybe they're linebackers. I guess they're not better than us by any means. No stretch. And, there's just bottom line, there's just more people that like to ride the Cowboys than the Eagles out there. When the Cowboys show success, this is a common occurrence every year. Anytime the Cowboys show success, all of a sudden, how about them boys? We'll wait and see once they play the Eagles. That's gonna be our season-long test for sure.
Yeah.
So we will see when that game comes. But I personally, I really don't see any reason to be terribly worried about them. I think that it's a team that we can handle. I just think that, if we stop, their whole team is their offense. I think that we can stop their offense, and I don't think they can stop our offense. Bottom line. That's how I see it.
Score more points to the other team, you win the game.
That you do.
But coming in this week, we got a big divisional matchup away at the Giants. Now, the Giants have started off as a very hot streak, but as of late, they had a draw last week. If you call it a draw, a tie, whatever you want to say, that was a stupid game. And then they lost 3 out of the last 4 after that, before that game. What do you think about the Giants? Are you scared of them? Are you worried because it's the divisional game and because it's at MetLife, or do you think we can still ride his high horse and not get too high on ourselves and come back to focus?
I'm going to go off your second point there, and I'm going to say my biggest worry is just the fact that it's a divisional game and it's away. I'm not worried about this team. I do not think they have much talent over there. I think they've been riding, some high momentum energy over there, and they're losing the momentum, and it's catching up to them. I just don't think that they're really that talented of a team. Their O-line is subpar, but has been playing good this year, and I think it's starting to subtly show what we thought they were. So their run game's slowing down. Daniel Jones is just not a guy that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl. I think the Giants know that. The whole league knows that. He's not bad.
People were calling for him to be like in the MVP conversation, not be like a top 5 guy, but they would be like, why are we not talking about Danny Dimes? And it was actually a third. There's a lot of people.
I think that Danny Dimes gets too much hate. I think that I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's like a
Kirk Cousins.
He's like you can always compare everyone to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the most average quarterback ever. But he is kind of one of those guys. He is like a Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Jacoby Brissett type player. He's kind of just average. He's not terrible. He can manage a game, and I don't think you can really win often that way with your quarterback being that way. It's possible. You have to have a really, really good defense for that to happen. And I think the Giants do have a good defense, but not good enough.
Yeah.
So the Giants' scary part is mostly their pass rush from what I've seen this year.
I mean, I guess Leonard Williams good, but and then Kayvon, but I'm not scared of it. I'm not personally scared of it. I just think they're very.
Well, considering the way that our O-line played this past week, they don't give me anything to be scared of. But that's where my call comes into play, that it's just a divisional game and you never really know what's going to happen. And that scares me. Yeah. I always think I know what's going to happen and I never do. So.
No, if somehow we go into this game and do what we did to the Titans to them, I don't know. It would be overwhelmingly happily surprising to see. They're just gonna play tough against us, and they're very well coached. And Duvall's a great coach. I wanted him as our coach and when we were hiring Sirianni. But their receivers are just been abysmally getting hurt. / just obviously, if you want to talk about Kenny Golladay signing for that huge contract and doing absolutely nothing. They have Darius Slayton, Richie James, and then obviously Saquon. Saquon's a type of guy where he has the athleticism to be that guy if we let him go loose. So what's your main focuses of the game and what we have to stop, or what would you like to see from us on the offensive side? Either one.
Well, it's a little bit tough because in my mind, I'd like to say that you should just run the same game plan you ran against the Titans. Try to shut down the run game and make Daniel Jones beat you. But my difference there is that I think the Giants are actually, despite what you said about their wide receivers and their passing game, I do think their passing game is more usable than the Titans is. So I don't think that shutting down their run game would just shut them down for good. But I think that obviously, that is the focal point of the defensive battle there, is to stop Saquon. And that's not easy because he can beat you through the air and on the ground.
That's the problem.
But I think that we're gonna, if it were up to me, I think that you should have TJ Edwards spy on him, on Saquon. Yeah, but I don't know exactly how that would work in the scheming and the play calling. But I think that if you just have a guy following around Saquon, especially a surefire tackler like TJ Edwards, I think that can minimize how often Saquon is available. Especially because, TJ Edwards not only reliable, but he's had a very good year in pass coverage. He's one of the top linebackers in pass coverage. And he's also fast. He's not slow.
Yeah.
So he might be, I doubt he can just keep up with Saquon, but he can, keep up with Saquon.
This is kind of underrated. I didn't even notice. I'm just looking at stats right now. Danny Dimes has 522 yards rushing this year.
Yes, he does.
And Hurts only has 600.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I didn't like, if you tell me they were in the same realm of rushing, I know Danny Dimes gets off, but like, I didn't realize how much he rushed.
He breaks out some big ones. He doesn't run as often. He breaks out big ones a lot because you don't expect him, because you don't see it coming.
Yeah, because
He
you're
has
too
sneaky
focused on
wheels for
Saquon in the
sure.
flat, and then someone down the field, and then he can just take off.
I'm sure you can never forget that 80-yard run he had against us where he face planted.
Yeah, that was.
But he was fast. That was the fastest
fast.
run of that entire season, including like Tyreek Hill and like Saquon and all those other guys in the league that are fast as hell.
No, he's really.
And you're telling me Daniel Jones had the fastest sprinting speed of the year? That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. So he is very sneaky on the ground.
And then even to that point, he only has 4 interceptions on the year. He has 2 fumbles that he lost. He doesn't turn the ball over like at a ridiculous rate. I mean, they're just a decent team. They're
a decent team. Exactly. They're just a decent team. They have their record because they have had a bad schedule. They have been playing with some momentum and some energy. And they haven't made a ton of mistakes. But they're really not overly talented. And it's starting to show now that they're playing some better teams.
I'm just a little bit nervous about this game because obviously coming off a high like we just had. I mean, we've had highs all season, and there's no reason for me to be not. I wouldn't say scared is the word. I guess I'm just a little bit nervous. Like I just hope that we could still be this good, dominant, like constantly, and not get our head too high. And hopefully that hurt. I see Hurts say it all the time, and I feel like the locker room is just 0-0 every week. But it's hard not to like take a peek and go, well, if we lose this game, like we're still at the number 1 seed. So like I just not that.
I do feel you on that, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. First of all, because we're only 1 game ahead in the 1 seed. We're not, we haven't locked up that 1 seed by any means.
Yeah.
So that's something that is going to be in the players' minds. They're at no point thinking any game is losable at this point. Until they get set before the playoffs, no game is losable.
Well, if they win 4 out of the next 5, they're automatically the 1 seed, and we control that destiny.
Exactly. So if that happens, that's when they can relax and do whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But we do need that 1 seed. It made a big difference. You saw the difference it made when the Eagles had home field advantage.
Yes.
It makes a massive difference, especially in Philly. So
yeah,
that is something we really could use. And I don't think that they're going to be walking around at any point thinking that any game is losable. And on top of that, last time we said this and said, oh, they're on a high point. You think they're going to come out a little soft? They're 11-1. They've been doing this all year.
Yeah.
Every time we thought that they might come out after having a high point, they haven't. So even the game we lost was not coming out after a high point. It was coming out after a low point. So, I don't think there's anything to worry about with that in terms of the energy that the team's going to play with. My main concern is just the grittiness of the division battles. And on top of that, the Giants have proven this year that no game is easy. They haven't made any game easy for anybody. Even the Cowboys game, the Cowboys pulled ahead late, but it was a close game up until like the middle of the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
So, they do not get blown out. They keep games close and they keep them gritty. And when we have seen the Eagles in those type of situations, they do tend to get a little stagnant. And that's what concerns me with games like this, especially in the division. They, something about it, they just don't quite, get that, like, they never get the momentum going, I think is what I'm trying to get at. They just never quite get that momentum going in divisional games, and it slows them down. So it's definitely it's not a game where we can just look at and say, like, and I've been saying this all year, no game should be looked at that way. But this definitely isn't a game that you can look at and say, oh, this is an easy win, because it's absolutely not. This is a 7-win team. They're over 500. This is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be at the game, so I'll be cheering for them. But the fact that it's in New York too, it just makes it even more difficult to go to another stadium, and they don't have anything to lose. I mean, they have their playoff chances to lose, but when you're going up against like a Goliath like us, like all right, if they lose, like they don't think no one has this game marked as a W for them. Maybe some Giants fans do, but like we're a touchdown favorite in New York or New Jersey or wherever the hell their stadium is.
It's in Jersey. It's in Jersey.
But nonetheless, it's gonna be a hard game. Do I think we're way better than you? Yes, but it's
better teams capable of losing sometimes. It's going to be a tough battle.
Yeah. So how do you see this game going?
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. So with that all being said, my score prediction for this game, I do think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I think it's going to be 28-24 Eagles.
So you think it's going to be that close?
I do. And I might be being generous on the points, but the Eagles are pretty high scoring, and I just think the Giants are going to keep it close. So
I mean, I don't have any choice but to believe that we're going to put up 20 plus points on this team because we just are off.
I'd be really surprised if we don't put up over 20 points.
So for that reason, and that reason only, I think it's going to be, and this is just the score, but my score prediction is going to be 24-13, but the way it's going to go to me is kind of like how the Cowboys game went, like you just described. I think it's going to be a very close first half. I think it's going to get down to the third quarter, and I think that it's going to be just super close and gritty, and then we get a touchdown, and I think we're going to be able to pull away pretty late, just like the Cowboys. The only reason they lost by 8 is because they got a last second touchdown to not make a two score game at the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
but I just think it's a very winnable game. And I think that the division aspect plays into the first half. Maybe we don't come off as strong, but this coaching staff has given me no reason to not make adjustments and not be prepared for this team. And bottom line, our D line is playing fantastic. Like our whole team is great. Like I don't.
And they're back on their stuff. You know, they're playing on all cylinders right now.
And there's no and this Giants team is playing on their worst break of the season.
Exactly.
So there's no reason we shouldn't win by 10 points. But if we don't, I wouldn't be surprised. But
anyway this game goes, I'm not going to be pretty. You know, I mean, I can't say that yet. I'm not going to be particularly upset with any way this game goes. But
if we get blown out, I'll be upset.
Well, if we get blown out, I think I'd be a little upset. But I think that's unrealistic, but I suppose anything's possible. But, you know, whatever happens, even if we were to lose this game, you know, I think that there's things could be taken from it and things that, you know, nothing that we should be concerned about. So,
hey, it's a great time to be an Eagles fan. Great time to be a Phillies fan. Did you see Trey Turner get signed today?
Of course.
$11 million or 11 years.
$100 million.
Jeez.
It's a lot of money.
Years.
And I know we were damn near the luxury tax going in already. So
we're fine. We're
perfect. Hey, I mean, it's up to the owner. I don't care. I'm sitting here trying to win. That's all I want.
Yeah. No, it's just great to see just like us be good again. It's like all around. I mean, obviously the Flyers are never going to be good. The Sixers just have so much talent. I mean, yeah, dude, the Flyers is brutal. Like I'm hoping they get the first pick. Like honestly,
I can't even lie. I actually don't watch the Flyers, so I don't know too much about them.
They start out season hot, but know what? I mean, I didn't think they're gonna get the top 3 pick. Hopefully, cross my fingers. So sad, but 11-1. Like why am I even? I just don't even think it's real. Sometimes I have trouble processing that we are so dominant and so good that it just
when people get, you know, comfortable with success, everything seems like it's wrong. So like anything that goes bad seems doubly worse just because we have high expectations. They are 11-1, and that is, you know, if we said that in the beginning of the year, you would say that's unrealistic expectations and that you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we should be very, very happy with the team right now.
Yeah,
and I know I am. I know you are too, but you're a little bit of a, you know, a skeptic.
I have a different way of showing it. It's not skeptical. It's more just I Why?
I don't know. You sounded pretty darn skeptical a week ago.
I said, why are we not falling off a cliff?
All right, let's jump into our picks for the week and give out our weekly picks. So why don't you give them the easy pick slate this week?
This is not easy pick slate, but it's the Steven Madley slate because this guy sucks. I suck at this thing that he pick games, but easy picks is pretty good. I don't know who he is though. He seems like a good guy. Go follow him on Instagram. Anyway, for the Thursday night game, we got the Rams versus the Raiders in LA, and I don't even like this pick, but Matt picked the Raiders, so I had to pick the Rams. +6. I'm just hoping they cover. Honestly, I hope it's a close game. I hope the Raiders just fall back into their ways of Josh McDaniels not being a good coach, and Sean McVay's actually a good coach, even though they don't have the personnel right now. And somehow Jalen Ramsey locks up Devontae Adams, but I'm hoping they cover. My next two picks are just because I think they got too many points. It's the same pick I had with the Bills Jets earlier this year. I'm taking the Jets +10.5. For no other reason than I think their defense is pretty good, and I don't think it was just a fluke thing that they won that game against Josh Allen. Do I expect them to win? No. But do I expect them to keep it within a touchdown? Maybe at the end? Yes. That's why I got 9.5 there. And then the Cowboys are getting 17 points against this Texans team. So you're telling me 2 touchdowns and a field goal? Like, it's an NFL team still. I know they're poverty, but we didn't beat them by
poverty teams.
We didn't beat them by 17 points. They have 1 win, Matt. They're poverty. But we didn't beat them by 17 points, so neither should the Cowboys. Texans +17. And then the next pick is just because it's a divisional matchup. It's going to be similar to ours. Honestly, it's the Bengals versus Browns. I'm taking the Browns +6. I think that the Browns, while Deshaun Watson looked like he forgot how to play football, their defense has been played really well last game, and I think Deshaun has to get back into it. I think he's actually – I watched him play quarterback well, but I also said I have Russell Wilson. So maybe I'm just like oblivious and just these highlights aren't real. But I swear Deshaun Watson used to be good at quarterback. I think he still is. So I'm taking +6. Lots of dogs. I got all pluses this week.
Yeah, you went my route. That's what I went last week.
Wow.
But all right, jumping into my picks. We're going to start with the Thursday night game. And like Masley said, I'm taking the Raiders -6. You know, I just the Rams might be without their backup. So they might be playing with their backup's backup. I just don't think that they have quite the manpower right now to get it done. You know, I actually hate this game. I hate the Raiders. The Raiders are scary. They're unpredictable. I don't like this game even a little bit because I do think there's a chance the Rams could cover, but I'm going to stick with the Raiders and hope that they can hold off the Rams, you know, underdog team.
They've been playing well.
For my second pick, I'm going to be taking the Vikings, who are wildly underdogs, +1 to the Lions. Now, the Lions are at home, I understand, but I think that that's a little bit ridiculous considering the Vikings are 10-1 and the Lions are 5-7. So I just think that's just blasphemous. You know, Vegas knows what's up. I guarantee you this is going to end up being a close game, but I think it's stupid.
The Vikings have been getting disrespected all year, but that line I'm just so scared of that line because it should be 3 toward the Vikings, but I don't know why. I don't understand it.
I know that's what scares me too. It seems almost unbelievable.
Like they were touchdown favorites at home. So like how much of a difference? What happened? Kirk Cousins hurt, Justin Jefferson not hurt. Their defense is
nobody's hurt. Nobody's out for them. They have everybody in. They, you know, I don't get it. Right. So I'm going to be taking the Vikings +1 versus the Lions. For my third pick, I'm going to take the opposite side of Masley again, and I'm going to be taking the Bengals -6 versus the Browns. Like he said, you know, Deshaun Watson forgot how to play football, clearly. And in my mind, I just think it's too soon for him to figure it back out again. He's going to need a few more weeks to get back into his, his mode and get back to being a decent quarterback again. I don't think the team's going to mesh with Deshaun Watson, a quarterback right now. Realistically, I don't think they should have started him at all this year. So I'm going to be going with the Bengals -6 on that one because they've been playing hot. And for my last pick, I'm going to be going Seahawks -3.5 versus the Panthers. I think that's a pretty obvious one to fans. The Seahawks been a good team this year. Panthers have not, but as I tend to say these things, it gets to be a close fight. So we will see. I'm sure now that I just mentioned that, it will be a close fight.
Yeah, the funniest part was that you acknowledged the trap with the Vikings, right? You go like, I acknowledge this is a weird line, but then you go, the Seahawks are just obvious, so like I'll take the Seahawks.
Dude, I really hate the Panthers. I think the Panthers are worse than the Texans.
Somehow they have 4 wins, and I don't know how.
I don't either, which is what pisses me off. But
dude, how did they beat Tampa Bay 21?
Dude, I don't know. They've been this year has been so unpredictable. Like every time I think that it's an easy call, it never is. So, maybe disregard the fact that I said this is an easy one, but I do think the Seahawks are better on both ends of the ball by a large margin. So
I think they're a better team. Their defense isn't great though, but they're fine.
I think their defense has been their strong suit this year.
Has it?
I mean, they got their rookie corner who's got 7 picks now, I believe, maybe 6. I know their D line's been playing well. They don't have studs on their defense, but they've been playing very well from the games that I've watched.
They
give up points. I know.
Yeah, they give up points.
Game flow is very different from watching the game. You know that.
I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying statistically wise.
Yes, I get it.
No, every other statistic they're doing pretty well.
The Lions put up 30 points per game, but do I think they're the best offense in the league? Definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, it's game flow.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. But all right, man. Let's hope we can get a nice Giants dub next week. We do not want to come back upset and crying coming into the next episode. So we're looking for a big dub, another complete performance out of our Birds this week.
If we get blown out, I'm getting in a fight at the Giants Stadium. I'm gonna have a black eye when I come back on this podcast. So
I'll make sure somebody has it recorded. Do not worry, fans.
Guys, I might get arrested if we lose by. No, I don't even want to say that. No, we're not losing. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna cry. I'm not even gonna be yelling. I was gonna be like, we're down 3 touchdowns.
Let's not think that way. I don't think that's going to be the case. So
I just get overly paranoid especially when I go to games.
When you go to games, yeah.
I never went to an away game before, so I'm excited.
That is cool. I've never been to MetLife, so that's probably gonna be a fun game.
Yeah.
But all right, thanks for tuning in again, guys. This has been another good episode of Flyin Style. I'm your host, Matt Mitchell, and this is Stephen Masley. And we will be signing off. Go Birds.